million, 2,000.
million,
Law enforcement.
$1,000, fraud enforcement dollars, $1 million, law enforcement,
Fraud, $2,000, $1 million, enforcement, $1 million, fraud, dollars, healthcare fraud, fraud,
$1,000, $3,000,
Fraud, million, fraud, $2,000 million, fraud, law enforcement, $1,000 million, fraud, $1,000 fraud dollars.
law enforcement, fraud, million, fraud dollars, law enforcement, fraud, healthcare fraud, $1,000, $2,000, fraud,
$1 million,
$1,000.
$1 million, law enforcement, $1 million, million,
$2,000 law enforcement.
healthcare fraud,
healthcare fraud,
healthcare fraud dollars, fraud.